Welcome to Reiki Banashi, a podcast where we talk about Reiki in a simple and approachable way. I'm your host Innina, and I'm a practitioner and teacher Shihan of Jikiden Reiki, traditional Japanese Reiki. And through this space, I share thoughts and reflections with you, sometimes on my own, sometimes with guests. We'll explore this fascinating topic that is so close to my heart. So make yourself comfortable and let's get started. And konnichiwa, hi everyone. So today I'd like to share with you the first episode of a short series dedicated to integrating Reiki into our daily lives in a simple, natural and accessible way. So I often meet people, whether for a treatment, a training or a workshop, who tell me that they've already learned Reiki, they're already initiated into Reiki, but ended up putting their practice aside. Some say that they don't have time for it, others mention an overload of information during their training without any real follow-up afterwards. And very often the actual hands-on practice was very limited or even non-existent during their learning process. And I find that really unfortunate, even though I completely understand we don't always have the chance to stay in touch with our teacher or benefit from a supportive framework that encourages continuity. And yet, Reiki can be integrated into our lives in a much simpler way than we think, or at least much simpler than I thought at the beginning. So, of course, depending on the style or school or lineage, practices can vary. But if there's one thing I'd like to share with you today, it's the importance of removing any pressure around the practice. What I mean by that is that while respecting and following the steps of the practice, we can also take some of the pressure off, lighten it a bit. I think we shouldn't think of daily life on one side and Reiki on the other side, as if it were a separate activity that requires a specific setting or strict timing. You don't need to dedicate an hour and a half each day to do it right. If you can, that's wonderful, but it's absolutely not required. So the real trap, in my opinion, is trying to stick to a routine that's maybe too rigid, one that doesn't fit your lifestyle. The idea is to adapt Reiki to you, to your schedule, your needs at the beginning, not the other way around. I remember that after my first training, I wanted to do everything perfectly, maybe so much, so that I was stuck in my head, overthinking it. But very quickly I realized that it was by practicing simply without too much expectation and pressure and letting go, that's when the magic started to happen. And often, especially in the beginning, we're afraid of doing it wrong. Shinpai suna, really, don't worry. Everything comes with practice. Be patient with yourself, and above all, if you're unsure, don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher. Don't be afraid to ask questions. It's much more reliable to ask your teacher than looking for answers online, where you can find a bit of everything and nothing in the end. So some lineages or schools offer very structured self-treatment protocols. So if that works for you, that's great. But in my experience, the more complex or heavy or long a routine is, the more likely we are to abandon it quickly. So maybe at first the best is to focus on the essentials. To start with, the Gokai, the 5 Reiki principles. And yes, let me remind you that Reiki is not only about treatments and healing sessions, even though they are an important part of it. Then we have also the Gasho meditation, the hands together. Even just a few minutes are enough to give a great effect. And then simply placing your hands on yourself, on others, whenever it feels right. So we talk about this in the last episode with Charlie, that, separation between self and Reiki. And what we want here is to gradually infuse Reiki into our daily lives with no pressure. Okay, so practically speaking, how does it work and what would it look like? So I'll share with you a few things that really work for me. But just take what resonates for you and works for you. So, in the morning, starting the day gently, upon walking, instead of grabbing my phone, because that's the first thing I would do if I'm not really present in my head, I would grab my phone, maybe check a bit social media and things like that. So instead of doing that, still lying down, maybe still under the covers, I would scan and observe my body and also my mind. What's going on? Am I stressed already? Thinking of what's coming in my day, or do I feel any tension in my body? Is there anything that is uncomfortable, or do I have pain? And I would place my hands where I feel that I need a bit of help. And that doesn't need to be a full treatment from head to toe, right? Like I would just go where I feel the need to. And that doesn't need to be too long. Even 5 minutes can do a difference for me. And then once I'm up, I'll gently recite the Gokai 3 times. This is the routine that I always do in the morning. Reciting the Gokai is like bringing me back to the present moment, to the essentials. It's like a reminder as well, I tend to go so much in my head, so this is such a good tool to just remember, okay, those are the things that really matter to me. Because somehow, with so much distractions, it's quite easy to forget. So I find it very good to recite them first thing in the morning. And I'll observe, is there any of the principle that resonates a little more? Maybe something that resonates more or that creates a bit more resistance. And this is not to act on it, but just to observe. And that's a good indication on, okay, this is what it is in the moment. And just observe what's happening inside of me, inside of my mind. And this is just an information, but it's precious also, maybe to know how you feel, almost like a checkup. No, okay, this is my state at the moment. Then if I'm not working from home, so on the public transport, on the bus, or while waiting for the bus, there's a lot of waiting times when you go from a place to another. I place my hands discreetly on my belly or on my knees if I'm sitting, just to give myself Reiki. So without having this dramatic effect of, I have to focus and close my eyes and do Reiki. No, I will just place the hands and let the Reiki flow. And then in the day, in my interactions with other people, I would think of the Gokai whenever it's necessary. Because remember, Reiki isn't just about your hands, it's also about the intention behind the words, the gestures, the thoughts, and the Gokai really helps with that. So I'll try, when it's necessary, to go back to the Gokai in my interactions with other people, but also with myself. And then in the evening, once I'm home, I'll take a little moment to scan again maybe the body, if I have any tensions or pain, the mind, what's going on in the mind. And I will place my hands where I feel the need to, even if it's just a few minutes, just to kind of calm down and take a moment for myself and let the Reiki again just flow. Then if I have the time and if that's something that resonates with me in the moment, I'll do a meditation, a gassho meditation, so with the hands together, and just observe what's going on. And this is a meditation that really puts me back in the present moment, as the Gokai do, but it's a bit different because I'm more observing the perceptions also in my hands. And so that's another tool that I find very powerful and helpful. And if I don't feel like meditating and doing gassho meditation, I'll recite the Gokai. And then before going to bed, personally, I often offer distant Reiki treatments in the evening for those in need around me, my friends, or people in the community that need a little help. And it's not just an act of giving, to be completely sincere, because remember that when you give a treatment, you also receive Reiki. So it's a profound exchange, a shared healing moment when you think about it. And that's the true beauty of Reiki. So that I try to do almost every evening. And then a few extra tips, if we can say so. I would say that at the beginning, it's absolutely fine to offer treatments to your loved ones, your friends. And that's a beautiful way to start practicing and build a bit of confidence around the practice. And if you're lucky enough to have other practitioners around you, don't hesitate to practice together. Exchange treatments. And if you're trained in Jikiden Reiki, for example, you can take part in koryukais, reijukai, or gatherings to continue practicing under a teacher's guidance. And remember, what is great about Jikiden Reiki is that all teachers have the same practice and method, so you can really join, even if it's not the teacher that you've learned with, you can always join other meetings and gatherings, and that's fantastic. And one important thing, and above all, is start practicing right after your training. Don't wait. Don't wait until you have the perfect healing space, the perfect music, the perfect massage table, the ideal space, or the perfect timing. Reiki doesn't need any of that to work. So really remember that. Start practicing right away. And trust yourself. Reiki is something deeply intuitive, natural, and alive. And if it's not perfect in the beginning, it's already more than enough. The important thing, in my opinion, is to stay consistent, even if it means practicing just for 5 minutes a day, or even if you skipped one day, that's okay. Just do it so that it gradually becomes a natural reflex. And with practice, everything will become more fluid, more simple, and deeply rooted. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. And so every now and then I'll continue with this theme and offer more reflections, ideas, and guidance to offer support on this path of integration. Thank you so much for listening. It's such a joy to share these moments with you. If you'd like to keep exploring these topics with me, you can find me on Instagram or on my website. And if you want to dive deeper or learn more, all the links are in the show notes. I'll see you very soon for another episode, and in the meantime, take care. ありがとうございました。